Okay, it's Roger once again. This is the giant human fingertip. It's been DNA certified. That is the fingernail. It's approximately 30 inches wide. Just the fingertip. That's the back of the bone. And on the other side is the the fingerprints. And I smashed off a bunch of this, and that is the fingerprints right there. This wrapped around the side and was smashed off. There are holes in here that are blood vessels, and from the other side I drilled in and took arterial blood, had it tested, and it is human, 100% mitochondrial human DNA. This is the fingerprints. This is the DNA test. There was 3 samples sent. They all came back positive for human DNA. It was ancient DNA test kit. And this was all ancient protocols. And it took a couple months to do it. And this is the extraction. Now, I did the extraction here. They tested it. But the extractions were taken directly from the arterial blood. And, and I also had an anatomist look at the anatomy. So I said, no question what it is. It's absolutely certain. So at this point, it's just complete dismissal by academia. So it's time to stop this baloney. It's all over now. This is about as far off the edge as you can possibly get. This guy here, David Craig, is extremely interested in the mud fossils. Been out collecting them, gathering them, getting them verified and everything. Very dedicated to doing this. And his son got real upset. Called the police or whatever. And ended up, the police came, took his guns, and locked him away for 7 days in a psycho ward. And he tried to do all his due diligence. Down here it says his son phoned the family doctor in regards to his Mudfossil madness. Now, I'm sure he probably got a little, you get really upset, people won't listen. I understand that. Now, I don't know how upset he got, but the son called. Anyway, he said he had already done his due diligence, contacted several geology places, 2 universities, 2 museums, and he was scolded by this guy Henderson. I know about him, and I know his Royal Museum. They are not interested whatsoever in reality, in my opinion. Now, again, he says the exact word from his doctor's mouth was, "David, you said you found a dinosaur in your backyard," so they locked him away. Now listen to this. Down here, he chimes back in a little later. He says, "Did I mention this happened on my property? No warrant, no charges, no criminal record. He's a retired self-employed contractor for the 4th year. Tyrannical fascism." Yes, I agree, David, 100%. And it's the universities are our problem. They are the ones that need to be looked at to see how competent they are, and that is exactly what I'm recommending. Here's another one. This guy here got reported by somebody for suspicious activities, digging around in his yard. He's got all kind of chemistry going on out there. They come over there and look him up, and they say, "Well, you must be having a drug factory. What are you doing with all these chemicals?" He says, "I'm washing the mud fossils." And they said, "Mud fossils? You must be insane." So now they got him going for, first of all, they arrested him for drug things. And now they got him going for competency hearing because he's talking about mud fossils, because it's a mess. People's minds are totally lost. Okay, if we're talking about competency hearings, I think we should take a look at Derek Briggs down at Yale. He is the curator in charge of invertebrate paleontology. Absolutely refuses to look at anything that I have tried to present. Will not look at it, will not discuss anything. I have the DNA reports, I have the specimens, I have everything to prove what I am saying. He refuses to say it. He claims to be the expert. I think we should look at him and have him up for a competency hearing. All right, these are the DNA reports. I sent this stuff to everybody in academia. I say now we have an issue that has to be resolved. It just absolutely has to be. There's a fiduciary failure which needs to be seriously investigated because they are representing the students. The students have no way. They are putting their complete faith and trust in the professors in these institutions, and they are letting them down miserably and taking their money. First of all, it's illegal. Secondly, it's immoral. Thirdly, it's unconscionable. It's unbelievable that they can continue to do this, especially Derek Briggs. He's the one I'm holding responsible in my mind. He's the one that's turned this down, and since then, not a single person will speak up against it. They say, take it to Yale, and I say he won't look at it. They say that's because you're an idiot. I hold Yale responsibility for this failure of their fiduciary responsibility. And it's time now to take this is not something that can be denied. Absolutely not. I have the evidence, I have the specimens, I have the tests, I have the anatomists, I have the CAT scans, I have I've recreated the process. It's easily recreated. It's all, as far as I'm concerned, academia is where we need to do the competency testing immediately. Do your own competency test. Ask your professors, is that a big gigantic fingertip? Is this a bone that's solid stone and it has all its articulations? Is this a goose head or a duck or whatever it is? It's got feathers in there and it's a goose or a duck died laying like that. They're all laid flat from the Great Flood. Ask them if that's a lung. Find somebody in your institution that has any anatomical ability. Again, flat as a pancake, died in the Great Flood. All of this stuff is the problem is that's a giant human fingertip. This all backs up the biblical statements. They hate it. Not only is that a fingertip, it has a fingerprints on the other side, and it was DNA certified, as you will see in this video. And those are the actual fingerprints like you have in your finger. And it comes down like that. I broke it off of there. It wrapped around on the other side. That is the thickness of the skin on the guy's finger. I hope you can see that. All right, this is that guy Henderson that the other fellow's talking about that rebuffed him for talking about mud fossils. Well, he found this. That looks like a little dragon head to me. And we have found dragons too. Giants, dragons, all the stuff written in the Bible. And this is what it's upsetting about. They don't like this because giants and dragons are biblical. And here is the crux of the matter, my friends. Dragons on the land. You see that? That's a dragon. That's his neck going all the way down. There's his body. There's his tail. And it's all the way over here is his dragon scaled tail running off body fluids. And you say, oh, Roger, that can't be. And I say, oh, yes, my scholarly friends, it is an absolute certainty. And this is that dragon's long, articulated, dragon-scaled, decomposing throat. And not only is it dragon-scaled and decomposing, extremely long throat, it has also been slashed by some very sharp and wide device. I don't know what slashed it, but there is written statements about that in the books that these people will not let us read and discuss. And this dragon attacked that giant fish. So let's have some real discussion about what our real honest past was. Kabish? Okay, my very good friends, I just want to leave you with this. This is Isaiah 27:1. I was never a religious person until I discovered what I discovered. And I just showed you a dragon and a giant fish. And what does it say? Isaiah 27:1, King James Version. 27. In that day, the Lord with his sore and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. Serpents were sea creatures, they were fish. And the dragon that is in the sea. They were both right over there. That was the ocean there. And when that drained, it drained out right here. And I believe it drained when Atlantis was here and it collapsed. Something very strange has gone, and I believe that is Atlantis. Now, there's a lot of spots on here that look like they're boat slips and so forth. And originally I thought they were all boat slips, but I got to tell you the truth. That's an eyeball. If you look at it closely, there's no ophthalmologist that can look at that and say it's not an eyeball. You can see the optical sclera and all this business. I mean, I'm telling you. And down here you can see the straits that obviously is the point of collapse. Now, Plato says Atlantis was just outside the straits. Nobody that I can find, except the people that interpret it, say the Straits of Gibraltar or the Straits of Hercules, it's outside the straits. That is a straits. This is obviously a collapse. This thing is far and wide. I think I forget how many miles wide, if it's 40 or something like that. And Plato said in Timonius, or whatever the name of it was, that they would never speak of mud running again after what happened here. And sure enough, this whole ocean drained out of it. That was the ocean. The entire thing drained out of here. A huge amount of that. Right? And it created, I forget what these are. Cape Verde? I forget. But anyway, I'm sure that's what created there. And if you ask a geologists, they say, oh, it was an offshore collapse. No, obviously not. And even when you point it out and show it to people that are once they're entrenched, they don't want to see it. Don't show me these things. Don't show me a fish. Don't show me a dragon. Don't show me that the dragon was attacking the fish, which it obviously was. Look at this. Look at what's coming out of that dragon's mouth. There's a dragon's head. There's what's coming out of his mouth. And I found the injectors in his throat, too. They're red and green. You can look at, you got Google Earth. This comes down, and it attacked the fish. Look what happened down here. You ever see anything like that in your backyard? I don't think so. Now, look at what happened to that fish. They think it's just the earth. It started combusting over here, and bam, here's the fish's fin. You see that? There's the fish's fin. And here's the skin. Its vital flesh is it's invaded. You see all those little things going on in there? That's not accidental. These are blood vessels. You see them? These are exploded blood vessels. These are I forget what the name of the feather muscles, something like that. But anyway, that's what it is. There's no question what it is. It's not just accident. You see that? Very cool stuff. Now, what exactly this represents, I don't know. I haven't actually been there. But I can tell you what. It represents biology that seems to have been attacked. Let's look way back up here. See, you know where we are. We're on a fish's fin. This is the first point of impact. And then this is vital flesh down here. Let's look at vital flesh. Doesn't look like much anything. It looks like just skin of the earth. That's the vital flesh of this thing. If you look at it, see right there? That's a vital passageway of blood or whatever was in there. I imagine it was some kind of arterial stuff. Let's follow that back up where it gets hit by this destroyer blast. All right, we're up back in here where the destroyer blast is coming down. And at this point, it starts to get pretty intense. And as we go back, it gets intenser and intenser. And back here, it gets intensified. And here, it gets intensistic. Tensistosis. Tensification. I mean, look at the damn thing. And that's what that fish's fin. That's what happened to the fish. I'm sorry to that fish. I can't help that fish. Way up here, look where it first hits. You see it? It's just noxious, nasty stuff. Absolute carnage. Fishification. Well, you're seeing what I'm seeing, and you know, it's fabulous, interesting to look at this, because when you get right down on the surface, everything here is some form of biology at some point. Now, of course, there's winds and waves and this, but I'm telling you, they form over the top of normally biological features. I do this a lot. And when you see a glob like that, you say, well, how did it just show up there for no reason? You see back here? That's an abrupt transition of something. And it'll be gluey looking. That's that gluey looking stuff. And you see two different, I don't know what it is. And I don't know what, but everything is something of creatures. It's just the way our universe works. And I'm not just talking about the Earth, my friends. I will leave it at that. Someday soon, we will all find out what's going on. I will find out probably sooner than you. But I'm ready for I'm ready to cross over to the next region, wherever it might be. I'm hoping I'm going to do what I can, and I think I'm doing what I can to protect myself, all I can do. And I am following the rules set forth in extreme detail. If you take a look. Okay? Thank you all. God bless you. Okay, so if I was the curator of geophysics and all the truth that Derek Briggs is supposed to be the curator of, I would see something like this: a giant human fingertip that has the fingernail on it, shows the bone in the back, and actually has the fingerprints on the other side, which I smashed off, broke off, then drilled in and took blood out of it from the artery and sent it off for DNA, and Derek Briggs will not examine it or speak to me whatsoever. I say he needs to be held for competency. I don't think that's competent, do you? I just want to leave it at this. There are fiduciary obligations. These students put their complete faith and trust in these people to do the best they can for them. And I see it as they're rejecting truth so that they can support their side of the story, which is wrong. Totally wrong now. No question whatsoever about it. And the refusal to even examine something by an educator whose sole purpose in life is the investigation of evidence is a disgrace.